Hi everyone, and welcome to lesson 21 on our persuasive writing unit. So this is kind of like the second part of our two lessons which look at the topic of fast fashion. So if you have not watched the previous video, let me just move myself there, let me suggest that you do that now. You need to go back and look at the previous video which outlines for you the topic of fast fashion. In that video we looked at an article about the topic of fast fashion, and I dropped you the links in the playlist for Year 7 Persuasive Writing for the videos that are on fast fashion, so you can better understand the topic and why it is a concern for people to write about. So today's lesson is going to be developing upon your skills and your understanding of that really important ethical issue of fast fashion. So your title, newspaper article, and your objective to review and reflect upon the skills you should use to craft an argument effectively and to use this to improve your writing. So having kind of gathered your understanding of what fast fashion is during the last lesson's video, today's video is all about you then implementing that to help you to write an article for a newspaper in which you would review and reflect on the issues of fast fashion, okay? So your starter today, how many scary facts can you remember about fast fashion? So you'll need to take your mind back to previous lessons, article on the topic of fast fashion where it outlined for us the effects of the minimum wage being so low for those people that were working often in countries like Bangladesh to produce fast fashion at really low prices but at really high cost to the people that produced them. So I want you to take your mind back to that. If you haven't watched that, go back and watch that now. That was in last lesson's video, and don't forget to make sure that you've looked at those videos in the playlist so that you've got information to draw on to answer your tasks. So make a list now of the scary facts that you can remember about fast fashion. What is it? What's the effect of it? Why is it an issue? Bullet point your list, and I would title that as scary facts about fast fashion. You're aiming to get at least 4 points on your list minimum, facts about fast fashion. Okay, have a go at doing that now, guys, and pause the video. So the whole point of today's lesson will be to give you time to actually write up an article. Imagine that you are writing for a newspaper and you have been asked to write about the topic of fast fashion. I've given you a model title that you can use over here, so fast fashion fix, but you can work under whatever title you want. Normally for a magazine or a newspaper to really grab the attention of the reader, they will use a title that they know is going to do two things. One, it's going to make you pay attention to it and think that it's going to be on something interesting that therefore you're going to want to pick up and read. Secondly, it will give you an insight into what kind of position the writer is likely to take on the topic. So if, for example, your title was fast fashion fix with a question mark afterwards, we would get an implicit indication that that article is likely to be criticising fast fashion because it seems to imply with the question after the word fix that actually it doesn't fix anything and that indeed fast fashion is actually quite destructive. So whatever title you come up with, you want it to do those two things. It needs to sound catchy, but it also needs to make it clear what position you're going to take on the issue. So as we have looked at with our previous tasks where I've set up a slide that looks very much like this for you, I give you your list of key vocabulary that you can use to develop your writing and to help you sound more sophisticated, but I'm also giving you your key ingredients, and these are the kind of techniques and methods that I want to see you using and embedding in your writing to make sure it's really persuasive. Okay, so your task now, as you did at the end of last lesson, was to work your way through that list of key ingredients and try and include some examples of those that you could then work into an article on the topic of fast fashion. I'm going to ask you now to look back at the notes you made at the end of last lesson and to add to and improve upon those. So you're reviewing your work and improving it, thinking about, have you used all of these? Could you develop some more of them in a bit more detail perhaps? And could you include any more of the vocabulary from here? So you now need to spend 5 minutes reviewing your work, thinking about how you could add to it or improve it. Okay, do that now, guys, and pause the video. Okay, once you've had a go at reviewing where you were up to with your planning, I'm now going to show you a slide that you have previously seen, and this is how to upgrade your sentence qualities. So often one of the problems is getting going with your writing and knowing how to begin and open your sentences. If you look at the left-hand picture here, this gives you some sentence starters that you can use to get you going in your writing about your topic of fast fashion. On the right are some more advanced techniques to develop and challenge you to create some more sophisticated sentence openings or sentence structures, and particularly the perfect pairs is a really nice way of structuring your writing to develop your arguments. So depending on your skill level, if you're just struggling to get going with your writing, you're going to really use these sentence starters on the left to help you. If you're quite confident about what you're going to write about and you've got your ideas set but you just want to know how to improve it or add to the quality of your writing, you're going to look at these top tips on the right here. And I'm going to ask you now to use whichever of those you think fits your skill level best. So the challenge on the right, the more instantly supportive one on the left. And I'm going to ask you to use those to help you to write up some practice sentences and paragraphs now. You want to spend 5 minutes trying to use these to write a paragraph about the topic of fast fashion in order to try and demonstrate that you have a strong argument. You can use these sentence starters to help you off, and you can use these more advanced techniques to develop your writing. Okay, pause the video and give that a go now. Okay, so having had a go at writing up a paragraph using those sentence starters and upgrading your sentence quality, we are now going to have a mini reflection point where I'm going to ask you to grab your green pen, look back at what you've just written, and think about targeting your what went wells and your even better ifs before you then write up a full article. And the point in doing that now is so that you can think about the skills that you're already really secure with and the areas that you need to develop before you actually launch into writing up a final version where you might make those mistakes without having stopped and reflected and identified that weakness now so that you could overcome it. So for task number 1 then, you're going to need a green pen and a highlighter, and I'm going to ask you to highlight the techniques that you used in your paragraph that you just wrote on the topic of fast fashion using those sentence starters. And I'm going to ask you to give yourself at least one what went well from the list here, and you need to copy out your what went well in full sentences, and then have a think about what your area to improve might be. What would make your work even better if? Take at least one of these and add it to your piece of feedback now. Okay, when you're highlighting, you want to highlight and label in the margin the techniques that you think you're using before you give yourself a stage 2, your what went well and your even better if. We're skipping stage 3 because you probably don't have a partner that you can actually get to give you that feedback now. You're welcome to do it if you've got someone at home, a brother or a sister or somebody who's willing to have a look at your work and give you some feedback, but it's more important that you do steps 1 and 2 now. So pause the video and have a go at completing those tasks now, everyone. Okay, so you are now going to be spending the rest of the lesson writing your article on the topic of fast fashion. Be free to go and research facts and statistics that you can use to work into your writing. Don't forget how important the appeals to logos, ethos and pathos are. Can you cite some examples of facts and statistics that will shock your audience into understanding what your line of argument is and why you think what you do? Think about your range of fire actions and the ingredients here and the key vocab here that you can build into it. You're aiming to try and write just under a side of A4. If you can reach a side, that's fabulous, but you don't want to really write more than that because you want your article to be punchy and concise and to the point. So you're aiming for a side, don't go beyond that. Anything more than half a page will be acceptable, but you need to have written really at least 3 or 4 very detailed paragraphs. Okay, go research your facts and statistics, and then you want to give yourself at least 30 minutes to really try and write. And you're checking that you're including these criteria here to aim for top marks. Okay, so give that your best shot now, guys. You need to have a bit of concentrated time writing. I'm so sad that I can't be there in class with you to read what you have produced and to hear the kind of wonderful ideas that you will have come up with. I have no doubt that some of your writing here is fantastic and high quality stuff. Again, please send me examples of whatever you're writing so that I can still feel like I've got that contact with you and can give you some insights into how you can improve it. All right. So now you should have completed writing your full piece. This is an article aimed at a newspaper or magazine in which you're writing about fast fashion. So you are either writing that you thought that it wasn't really an issue, or you are going to be writing arguing that it is damaging to our environment and a violation of human rights. Having finished your article, you now need to grab a green pen and go through again your what went well, your even better ifs, and you're working through steps there with step 1 and 2. Don't worry if you can't complete step 3, but you need to have completed steps 1 and 2 there. So start by highlighting techniques you have used and label them up in your margins like we've done before. So if you know that you've used some really emotive language, you want to highlight that example and in the margin next to it write emotive language so that we know that you are seeing for yourself that you're embedding those fire actions methods throughout. Then, for step 2, you can give yourself your what went wells and even better ifs. This time, at least 2 what went wells and 2 even better ifs if possible, everyone. So you need to read through the list and you're copying them out in complete sentences. Label them up so it's really clear which are your what went wells and which are your even better ifs. Don't be too hard on yourselves. Any work that you are producing in these remote learning situations, you need to be really fair with yourself about the quality of what you produce. And if you find it hard, that's completely okay. It's not surprising. You've never prepared to learn remotely before. So I would never expect your work to be faultless in these conditions, okay? It's not the same as being in class where, I would be, as you know, drifting around and reading your work and helping you. And we'd be having those conversations about what you need to improve. So any work that you do produce, you need to be fair on yourself when you're setting yourself your what went wells and your even better ifs. I would say it'd be completely okay for you to have set yourself a what went well if I managed to watch all of the videos and I really tried with the tasks. That is a fair and accurate what went well, because what goes well with your learning isn't always just the skills that you demonstrate, it's your attitude and the effort that you have put in. So if you know that you've tried hard, give yourself credit for that. On the other hand, if you know that perhaps that is an area that you know that you should be improving, and you know if that's you, then that is also a very valid even better if, and there is no shame in it, but it is important that you acknowledge that and you can be honest about it, because that is how you will be able to make progress in the future, is by acknowledging your weak points and thinking about how you can overcome them. So write down your feedback now, everyone. At least 2 what went wells, at least 2 even better ifs, and then be proud of the fact that you've accomplished something. I can't wait to read your examples. Hope to hear from you with some of those soon. Okay, keep safe, keep well, everybody, and don't forget to be kind. Okay, bye.